Amelia, welcome to Take Brownlee Podcast. Great to have you on board.
Thanks so much for having me.
Srama Group, and a real privilege. I know that the company is going from strength to strength at the moment. Tell us a bit about your background. How did you get into real estate to start with?
So I started fresh out of high school, went to McGrath, Palm Beach. So I worked in sales for almost 2 years as an associate. So I learned all the groundwork. You've got to start from the bottom to get to the top. And from there I went to the McGrath Coolangatta office. So I did a bit of time down in the New South Wales side as well. Yeah. And in that time, Matt and I had done a few deals together. We'd actually met just before I started at McGrath Palm Beach. So we just kind of built a working relationship over those couple of years. And yeah, from there, one day Matt just called me up and he said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody. What are you up to?" And I had transitioned from the McGrath Coolangatta office to do a little stint in retail leasing, just to dip my toes in there. I realised very quickly that it wasn't for me. I like property better. And he reached out just at the right time and I said, "I'll see you next week." And so that was kind of the tipping point of where it all started.
Wow. So obviously like me then, you probably had very little to no information about buyers agents.
Yeah.
Up here, all we'd seen is on Lux Listings, Cohen Handler and Srama Who, I guess. So tell us about that. Like, what did it look? You must have been a bit nervous. Would that be fair?
Yeah, definitely a new industry to jump into. I feel like the last couple of years it started to get easier to explain to clients how it works, but definitely in the start it's very much a going through the process, explaining how it works because it is such a new and fresh industry within this industry. But I feel like just the amount of work that we've done in the industry with agents in sales and now with the amount of clients that we have serviced, I feel like that social proof has really driven it further and further up.
And not just one of the fastest growing buyers agency groups in Queensland, but also in the country. I know you can't tell us all the secret herbs and spices, but what do you think makes you different?
Definitely the passion that Matt has, that the whole office has. One of the big things that we have in the office is hire slow, because we want to make sure that anyone that comes into the office has the same values and beliefs that we do and strengthens the business that we already have. So our culture is very, very strong within the office. We care deeply about our clients and we care deeply about each other. And I think that's what attracts people to the business and keeps them in the business as well.
And tell us a bit about you personally too, family and things like that.
So I have a little 6-year-old son. My family, so my mum and dad live in Elanora. We live in Benora. We just became Benora locals last year. And my extended family all live in Palm Beach and Elanora as well. So we've got very deep roots here on the southern Gold Coast. And yeah, we're a very tight-knit family. We're hanging out most weekends.
And as you know, we've got a very strong women team, and I think that the women in our business definitely are some of the most important staff in our team. Like, it's incredible how they manage family. Look, right or wrong, I feel like mums always have, and look, being a dad myself, an integral role in the family unit. And unfortunately, no matter how hard a dad tries, you can't be a mum, right? So how do you do it? How do you juggle everything? And obviously you do so well in the buyer space. How do you do it?
Definitely team. I have a very strong team at work, but I also have a very strong family team as well. So mum will take Roman on the weekends. So Roman's my son. She'll have him on the weekends. If there's something that I need to get to, she's straight on the phone. She's straight down to pick him up from school. So having that good community and team around you is definitely what helps you continue to grow. And when you've got children and a strong family, it makes you want to grow more as well. So it pushes you.
So for people that might be not in the industry yet or in the real estate industry and they're a bit uncertain, obviously we still don't know a lot about buyers and buyers agents and what they really do. What advice would you give someone in that space looking to come into the industry?
My biggest advice would be to find somebody that has a very good reputation in whatever area you whatever area you live in the buyer's agent space, and reach out to them. Go and have a coffee with them, see if they're looking for an associate. The best way to learn is to start doing. And so if you can find somebody that already has a good reputation in the industry, you're going to learn all of the key developmental things that you need in that industry from somebody that's doing the right thing.
Yeah. Because you would, without a doubt, I think now be one of the most successful in this space. So what do you think your secrets have been? Like what gives you your drive? What do you feel you do well and excel in? And why do you think you've done so well as a buyer's agent?
I think it comes back to passion again. I think caring for the clients and understanding where they're at in their life and the chapter of life that they're in. I think having the passion for property and wanting to learn as much as you can about the industry, and then enjoying helping people find their next home or their first investment property or adding to their portfolio so that their kids have a future. It's all about understanding the story of why someone's doing something, and I think that gives you the passion.
And I had the privilege of meeting your boss, and I'm guessing mentor as well, Matt, at the Wingman conference over in the Philippines last year. Had a lot of fun. And is he really such a nice guy? I mean, no matter which way I turn, he's just a mate's mate. He's a good person. He seems to care a lot about others. What's he really like? Tell us the juice.
He's exactly how he comes across. He's a lovely, lovely person, cares about your growth, cares about you as a person as well. And he just wants to see everyone around him succeed. And he's a good person.
And how did he sway you across? What do you think was the key thing that he did? Because you could have gone anywhere. You had diversity of experience already in real estate. What made you go, hey, Strama Group, let's go?
I think just their reputation in the industry. They were probably one of the main faces that I would see when I was on the sales side, and the way that they worked with sales agents when I was one made me feel like that was a team that I wanted to be a part of, because it wasn't kind of two heads butting. It was, hey, how do we work together to find a win-win for both clients that everyone's happy with?
And so for you in particular, you're now settled in the Tweed, and it's great to have you on board. Hopefully more deals together.
Yes.
And thank you for the other day too. We put a good sale arrangement together, and I believe we're looking after you on the management side of it now with that. How are you looking for moving forward? I know you've done a lot of research, especially at the moment in that Tweed pocket. Tell us a bit about that.
There is a lot of development happening down in the Tweed pocket. There's a lot of development applications happening, and there's a lot of growth that's projected to happen as well. So we're meant to see around 25 to 26%, and I believe around the next 3.5-4 years of population growth just in the Tweed.
Wow.
In Tweed itself, in the last 12 months, we've seen 25% growth for houses, and we've seen 17.1% growth for units. So there's no stopping at the moment. There's a lot of demand. And if you have a look at Tweed on a map, there is a lot of water and not a lot of land. So you only have so much supply for the amount of demand that there is, and that's just going to continue to rise those prices for houses and for rentals as well.
And I know in particular you've done a bit of work around that Greenbank pocket. For people that don't know what the Greenbank pocket is, where is it? Why is it good? What's happening around there? What does Bay Street even mean? I'd love to know any feedback you've got on that.
Bay Street has definitely changed in the last 10 years. I'm sure you could agree with me.
Absolutely.
There is a lot more cafes. It's a lot more of a scene there now. They do really cool little markets and events along Bay Street. They close it all off. It's great for families. You've also got the Tweed Mall just across the road, which is in that Greenbank pocket. That Tweed Mall is a $900 million project that's coming. It's
How much?
$900 million.
It's nearly $1 billion.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that project itself is 5 separate development sites with a height up to 13 stories.
Yeah.
So you've got retail, offices, you've got not hotels, you've got residential, and then you've got your shopping centres around the whole thing. So that whole complex is going to be a huge game changer for the Tweed. And if you have a look around it, there's just been a $5 million development site sale just in behind there. There's also been a house sale for $2 million, which has been unheard of in that pocket for the last 5-10 years. So we're definitely starting to see those benchmark sales happening in those pockets. On the other side of Wharf Street, you've also got Recreation Street in that little pocket. There's a lot of development happening in there. You've got Boyd Street, that is a double block. There's going to be 53 units in there that's being built at the moment. from 1 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. So you're looking, I believe, around 800,000 for a 1-bedder, and you're looking up to 1.25 to 1.35 for a 3-bedder. There's 53 units in there, and that's just one development site that's happening at the moment. So you can imagine.
Those 2-bedders, where are they sitting out of interest?
They are around the 990 to $1,050,000, I believe. Yeah. So in that really nice range for that pocket that is just growing so much.
Wow, that's incredible. And obviously with the government lifting the height restrictions in the Tweed pocket and also South Tweed for that matter, that sounds like things have really taken off since that's happened.
Yeah, 100%. Again, in that Wharf Street and Recreation Street pocket, you've got really high density zones, so which means that you can build higher, you can build more dense. So those sites are a hot commodity at the moment, and a lot of them are starting to sell. You're starting to see more and more development applications come through on the Tweed website. And again, it comes back to that population growth. 25% in the next 3 to 4 years is a lot of people, and they need somewhere to live.
And so for you, what do you enjoy most? I mean, you do the Gold Coast as well, and what, predominantly southern, is that correct?
Southern Gold Coast, yeah. So my specialty is kind of Burleigh Heads, Palm Beach South. I don't really like to go past the Talabudgera Bridge.
That's a lot of area.
It is a lot of area, it is. Yeah. But yeah, no, Tweed and Venora are definitely my top suburbs at the moment. Just the amount of growth, the value you can still get for money in those pockets compared to Palm Beach and Eleanora and even Currumbin now. You're getting a much bigger house in really good condition on a decent-sized flat block with beautiful views over the Gold Coast anyway, and you're still only 10 minutes up to Rainbow Bay and Kirra.
And how do the investors feel? Like, what are the yields like comparatively between the Southern Gold Coast and the Northern Rivers? How does that sit?
We're probably seeing a 0.5 to 1% difference in the yield. So in pockets like Palm Beach, probably looking around the 4 to low 4%. In Benora Point and Tweed, there are pockets where you are getting that kind of 4.5 plus mark, which is really good for the Gold Coast and for Tweed. If you look at Australia overall, that's a pretty solid yield at the moment.
And I know one of the ones we've done has been pushing closer to 6% growth, which is insane. So sometimes you get those outliers as well.
Yeah, exactly. When you've got a nice big house when you're still getting a lot of value for money on that property, people are still in high demand for those types of properties, especially if they're renting because they can't renovate themselves. So they'll pay more for something that has been done already and that they can enjoy. Yeah.
Where are your buyers inquiring at the moment? Like, are they locally based? Are they interstate? Where's your target market predominantly coming from at the moment, and who are they?
Yeah, interesting question. So we're seeing a lot of first home buyers that are local and also from down in the Coffs Harbour and Macquarie, Port Macquarie areas. So seeing a lot of people come north, and then we're also seeing a lot of people come from Brisbane and south. So those kind of upsizes, so your families with 2 to 3 kids, any downsizes as well, they're coming down. They're looking at all of those beachfront apartments or beachside apartments. So we're seeing a lot of kind of local growth and local movement. We're still seeing Sydney and Melbourne, but we're definitely seeing a lot of Brisbane at the moment, which is interesting.
So that Brisbane market, ironic that you say that. So we've seen like pretty much, year in, year out, between a 15 to 20% on average increase in their market, compounded. And then obviously that builds them to $4, maybe even $500,000 worth of equity. Yeah. And then you're finding that they're reinvesting in our market. And is it a forever home that they're going to relocate to? Are they doing that now? Is it investment? Is it all of the above? What does it look like?
We are seeing a lot of holiday homes. So we're seeing a lot of people buy properties that they can rent out short-term or long-term and eventually move into. We've got a few people that have kids that are starting to get older. They're finishing up school in the next couple of years. They just want to buy something now so that when the kids are finished and graduated, they can move down and have that lifestyle. We're also seeing a lot of people looking to retire in the next couple of years. They want to be by the beach. You can walk straight over to the beach. You can enjoy all of the amenities that are around you, all of the new restaurants and cafes along Palm Beach, Burleigh, Kirra, Coolangatta. There's just so much blossoming at the moment. So everyone is really starting to see that lifestyle and they want to move here for that.
So that middle New South Wales market, like Port Macquarie is probably a good sort of landing point there, and probably even a little bit south and a little bit north. That buyer market, tell us a bit about them. What are they doing? Are they relocating to live? Are they investing? Are they different? How do they look?
They are more so younger families and first home buyers. So at the moment, I've got first home buyers that are looking for their first property that they can renovate, and they'll flip that and they'll either sell it in a year or they'll rent it out and go to the next one. But they're really looking for opportunity. And then you've got your young family. So you've got one kid, maybe another one on the way. They want that lifestyle. They want the schools that the Gold Coast offers and the community that it offers as well. So they're coming up here for that.
And we're seeing the same when we do see those Sydney buyers or that southern coast, mid coast. That's very similar. Even investors ultimately want to move into the property as well if they are investment. So seems to be much more family based, live in the property.
Yeah.
And so I guess for you, where do you see the market going? You're talking about obviously the percentage of volume of people moving. It's so significant. Personally, I'm worried they've got it wrong and it'll be even more influx than that. I don't know where they go if that's the case. Population growth is out of control, double population potential by 2050. How does it look for you? Where do you reckon prices could be on the Northern Rivers? And also subjectively, where do you see the Gold Coast? What percentage are you picking for each in the next, say, 5 years for growth?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's hard to put a percentage on it, but if you have a look
Come on, the buyers want to know.
if you look at the amount of infrastructure that's being built along the whole Gold Coast, so that's your roads, your new hotels that are being built. You've got Greenbank Hotel that's being built off the back of the Mondrian, off the back of the Langham up in Broadbeach. So you can see that they're slowly starting to come down onto the Gold Coast because there's a market for it. The big Tweed Mall $9 million project, they wouldn't be doing that if there wasn't a market for it. If you have a look around, everyone is trying to get trades. No one can get a builder. And if they can, it's a 6 to 12 month wait, if that, and they're paying ridiculous amounts of money on the margin for that. So if you have a look at all of that and then you look at a map of the Gold Coast and how much land there actually is that you can build on, we're running out of land and we're getting more and more people come in. So the population growth is only going to push that demand, and that supply just isn't there. And because the builders aren't building more homes, they're not building the apartments as fast as they could be or should be, that demand is just going to continue to rise and that supply is going to continue to stay pretty stagnant. So, I mean, if you're looking at a 25% year on year for Tweed itself, I mean, we saw in 2021 a 58% increase just in mermaid waters. So that was in the height of COVID. Everyone wanted to come here for the lifestyle. We can only imagine that things are going to continue to increase that 10 to 20% over the next couple of years. But, I mean, you're looking 10% just as a very bare minimum of growth over the last couple of years. So if you look at historic data, that's kind of how it's tracking.
So it could be 10% per annum and compounded based on those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And do you think the Northern Rivers, being that it's more entry level, could outperform the Gold Coast for the first time? Do you think that's plausible?
We're already seeing Tweed outperform some suburbs on the Gold Coast because there isn't a lot of houses and actual properties in that Tweed pocket, but so much demand from people being priced out of other suburbs. We're continuing to see a rise. We're seeing on $1 million unit, $17,000 a month increase. So every month that you're not in the market, you could lose $17,000 just on getting in.
So let's talk about those development sites because we've got a couple local to us. We've got obviously up at the Scenic Ridge in Balambul Heights. We've got Kings Forest. Cobberkai is never going to happen. I think that's the one that seems to be the hopeful. And obviously we've got Altitude. East of Benora seems to be a bit of a stalemate right now. What about Altitude, Kings Forest, Scenic? Let's talk about those three. They seem to all be pretty slow for some of the reasons you've already said, but is it going to help us? What's going to happen there? Have you got clients inquiring on that?
We mostly have clients inquiring on your already made stock. So things that are already done, ready to move in, they're tangible, you can feel them. So that house and land package stock is starting to move a little bit, but we're finding that for the prices that it's costing to get into those pockets, they're looking at things that are already made and ready to go, brick and tile, original homes that are sturdy, and they're sometimes choosing them over the house and land packages. But again, there's only so many brick and tile houses left that you will have to start moving to building your own home, whether prices go down, they stay the same, or they go up for building a property. That's also going to be a major factor. A lot of people are worried about a 30% margin increase when they do go towards a house and land package.
Do you think in the future you might get more consulting for that type of space as people have to progress into that build, property, etc.?
Yeah, 100%. I think we're starting to slowly see an uptick in inquiries on that kind of stock, and we're starting to get a better understanding of it, and chatting to more builders and finding the good builders versus the not so good ones is a crucial part of that process as well.
So let's just say hypothetically, Amelia, I'm a buyer today looking at 800 to 1.2 million. What should I buy? Where should I buy? What would you give me if I just said I'm a Southern Gold Coast, Northern Rivers kind of guy? I don't know where I want to buy for investment. Where do I go?
If you are looking for an investment and you've got 1.2, I would say look as close to the sand as you can. Look as close to all of your amenities and shops as you can. We're seeing Tweed, that front Tweed pocket just in behind, Coolangatta and Kirra. So you've got Duckett Street, you've got Kalula. If you can get a duplex or a townhouse in those pockets, depending on the suburb you're in, you're going to see really good returns.
Yeah. And what if I've only got 700,000-800,000 to spend, and let's say 700 even, and there's very little left, as we know, in the market? Do we look at West Tweed? Do we look at Southport? And I know that's not technically your pocket, but that's where you now have to go for these areas.
Yeah.
What's your picks, and what do you recommend?
I would be going with West Tweed. I would be finding a unit that has a good body corporate that's being looked after. It's potentially a little bit higher, so not so close to the river on the other side. So you don't have the flood overlays, which will increase your insurances on the property. But finding something that maybe has a slightly higher body corporate, but looking through the body corporate statement, understanding it is crucial for buying a property, and understanding whether it's being managed well or if it could be doing better, what the issues are and how they're being fixed. If they're being fixed is a big problem as well.
So that's a good point. So as a buyer, potentially, would you walk me through that?
Yeah, of course. So we've had a lot of buyers come to us and they say, hey, I really like this property. It seems really cheap. What do you think? And we will look at it. We'll go through the body corporate and we'll see that the sinking fund is really low or the body corporate is really cheap, and we'll say, why is it cheap? Then we'll go to the property and we'll see that the roof is very original and needs to be repainted. We'll see that the eaves, the fascia and the downpipes and the gutters are all really rusted. They're not in good condition. You can see mold. That's when you know there's a problem. So looking at the property and then looking at the body corporate and kind of comparing them both together is really crucial. That's why being on the ground is super important, especially for us. We're not going to buy a property unless us ourselves have been through it. Whether the buyer's been through it is a different story, but we will always go through the property first so that we can look at the actual building, what are the potential issues that are in it, and then look at the building and look at the body corporate. So we want to have a look at what costs have been spent on the property in the last couple of years. Are they big costs, and why did they happen? Were they managed correctly? Then we're going to go through the AGM minutes and make sure that the people that are talking to each other are having conversations that matter. So are they talking about the roof getting fixed? Are they talking about repainting the property? Are they saying, no, let's not do that? And why? Is there a reason for everything? So we really want to get down to the crux of everything and understand why something is happening or why something isn't happening.
Okay, that's good feedback. And so let's go that a bit further. When you're dealing with buyers as well, like what about, like, have you got solicitors, mortgage brokers? Like where do you stop and start? How does that all look? Because obviously you've got the body corporate side of it really under wraps.
Yeah, so we speak to solicitors and brokers the second or just before we sign on a client. So when we sit down with a client, we explain our process on how we work and how we can potentially help them. We also understand what their buying team looks like. So who is your broker? Are you using a broker or are you using a bank? Have you got your pre-approval in place? How much longer is that pre-approval valid for? Then we want to understand who your solicitor is, whether they have experience in whatever kind of property we're buying. Some clients, they'll come to us and they'll tell us their solicitor, and I'll say they only do Queensland, they don't do New South Wales. As well, for first home buyers, it's really important to understand who their broker is, because not all brokers know that buying in New South Wales versus Queensland can be a huge difference in borrowing power for that client. especially a first home buyer who is leveraging different grants and schemes. They need to understand that buying across the border might cost them X amount of money in extra stamp duty, or they might save X amount of money in stamp duty buying on the other side. So we want to understand who the team is and make sure that we're working in with them to make sure that the client gets the best outcome possible. And then throughout the whole process, when we're looking at properties, we're sending them through to the solicitor to look at the contract and to cross-reference that body corporate statement with us so that we're both on the same page. We're both looking at the same information. And then from there, we're also talking to the broker around what does this look like? How will this play out on the buyer's side as we're buying the property?
Sounds like you make also our job a lot easier, of course,
Yes.
for those buyers.
Correct.
So question for you too, right? We've got 2 weeks, Easter's coming.
Yeah.
I hope you're prepared. Roman will be chasing those
Slowly.
Easter eggs. And obviously the Easter Bunny's coming. Are you home or away? What's happening for you personally?
I am home this year, so we will be spending our time down in Tweed Heads, up at Kira, and down at Rainbow Bay. So we'll stay local. We'll be enjoying the cafes and the restaurants that we buy houses for all of our clients for.
Lovely. And where's the Easter egg hunt? Which area are you going to do that?
The Easter egg hunt will be at my mum's house. She does it every single year. She loves it, so I can't take that away from her.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So there's way too much chocolate, of course.
So much chocolate, so much. It gets hidden. I think there's still one bunny left in my fridge from last year.
Look, we love working with Strama Group. I'd like to just say, of course, at Tate Brownlee Real Estate, we open the doors to your future. Thanks for having you on, Amelia, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.